Hello, lovely beings. Welcome to today's episode of the Autumn Mindset. 'Tis I, your host and mindset guide, Autumn Oakley. So, today's episode, fix the camera here. Got a little tumbled over. We're outside in Tulum by the ocean, so enjoy the waves as we talk about dating. Sometimes a trigger message, sometimes, something stressful, but listen to the waves. Let them wash over you. Let them calm you down. So I want to talk about what we attract in dating is the mere reflection we need of ourselves. And that is your triggering message of the day. But that's something I've learned to be true is like when we bring our attention to our relationships, whether it's romantic, whether it is, friendships, we attract who we are, and a lot of the time relationships mirror the aspects of ourselves we need to face or heal. Opposites attract in a sense. Yes, you have things in common. Yes, you have things that you all like to do with your relationships, your connections. But when we're looking at more deep connections, I feel like, so probably like friendships and romantic, when we are attracting that, when we are attracted to someone or they're attracted to us, we need to really just sit with that, look at that person and say, you could be my mirror. You could be the reflection I need that I don't want to face. And you hear this all the time in dating. And I've heard this from people in the past, and I hear it now. And looking back on my life, at different times in my life, that's what I was attracting. I was attracting the patterns of what I was looking for that I wasn't getting of myself. Self-love is a unique journey that you build upon over time. So with looking at your relationships as a mirror, sometimes, what I hear all the time is that, oh, well, I'm attracted to this person. They're my type. It's not your type. It's your pattern. And yes, I know that's triggering as well. But we all have patterns. We're all attracted to the same things. And that's when we say, oh, I have a type. But when we look at, when we say that a lot of the time, when we say we have a type, it's really not deep. Typically, when we say we have a type, we are always talking about, their style, their, looks, how tall they are. We have a type in career that we usually are drawn to. It's all more of the exterior details for the most part when we say we have a type. And that's for us to face and say, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm in a pattern. Maybe I'm repeating a cycle. And people say all the time, I'm attracted to this type of person. These relationships are never working out. They're all going well, but I keep attracting the same person. They are ambitious in certain ways. They, typically like the same things. You're attracted to a baddie. You're attracted to, someone with tattoos. You're attracted to, maybe it does have more depth that you are attracted to, somebody who's emotionally intelligent, who can support you in that way, but likely if we're saying that, we're not saying we have a type. We're saying we want someone who's emotionally, able to support us and reciprocate that. We usually use like a different term when we're talking in aspects in relationships on a deeper level. So when you say you have a type, really just sit with that and say, okay, maybe I have a pattern. Maybe there's something that I need to look at, that there's wounds that need to be healed. And it's something I recognize, and it's something, with people I've connected with in the past and, continuing now and over future is that, we're in these patterns, we're in these relationships and they're going well, but then we don't know why, it ended again. It typically ends in the same way. We are wondering, why do we keep attracting people who are emotionally unavailable for me? Why do I keep attracting people who keep cheating on me? Why do I keep attracting people who, are just drawn to a different direction than me? Why do I keep attracting people who maybe are not, having the best intentions, for me, and I keep attracting this type of character? That's the pattern. There's a wound there that often needs to be healed, and that's something I've reflected on, in past relationships and just looking at different details, is that I needed to heal myself. I needed to understand, like, for you to have the relationship you authentically want on a deep level, one that lasts, one that you're looking to keep, you need to love yourself. You need to embody that so that that becomes your mirror. Because that's what it means, is that when we look at relationships as a mirror, if we're not loving ourselves in certain areas, we attract that because we're looking to have someone else fill what we're not giving to ourselves. So when you're able to embody self-love, when you're able to step into, a life loving yourself, trying new things, being authentic, learning, growing, healing, loving yourself along the journey more and more and more and more. And it's not for your ego to get inflated to say, I'm the freaking best. You are the freaking best. But it's for us to really step into the embodiment, our self-power, to say, I love myself. I love my journey. I am learning. I am growing. Every day I love myself a little more, because that has been removed from society. We've been taught to not set boundaries, because boundaries means we love ourselves. And when we don't set boundaries, what do? We attract relationships who take advantage of that. We attract relationships that really are not okay with us setting boundaries. And that's what the mirror is. That's what the mirror is, to understand, like, if you understand yourself and love yourself and support yourself in certain ways, that becomes your mirror. That becomes your reflection to say, hey, I've shifted, I've changed. And then you see the relationships you have in your life, the ones you've attracted and who are attracted to you, and you see if they're willing to change as well. You're seeing, if they're willing to make adjustments, to grow, to heal, to let go of that version of themselves, that mirror that they were attracted to you in that state of who they were at that point in time when you connected, when you met, over the years, whatever it may be. So treating our deeper relationships as a mirror is kind of a unique way to go through the healing. We're all supposed to grow in our own unique ways, but it's beautiful to have relationships that want to grow in your unique way, but alongside each other. And I think that is like the goal, is that we can never stop growing. And if someone is holding you back from your authentic path, your uniqueness, the things you want to do, making you feel bad, that is the mirror we often need. And it's a hard one to face a lot of the time. And sometimes when we're in dynamics, when we're in relationships that we're unknowingly triggered into, abuse, narcissistic tendencies. I don't really like that word, but sometimes we don't always understand, like, we're being manipulated. Sometimes we don't always understand, like, that somebody has kind of molded us into a way that, like, we're people pleasing. We aren't setting boundaries. We, view that we're feeling a lot of, shame, that we made them feel bad. But that's for you to say, like, that's what the mirror is. If you're feeling shame about doing the thing that you want to do because your partner, because your friend made you feel shameful about trying new things, about doing what brought you freaking joy, that's not okay. And that's for us to say, like, hey, that's the mirror I need to understand. Like, I need to set boundaries. I need to say, like, me doing what brings me joy, stepping into my authentic path, me feeling good and not embodying shame regardless of what other people are telling me, is the path. It's the path of love. It's the path of authenticity. It is the relationships you want in your life. So if people are not willing, when you look at the reflection of the mirror, to say, hey, you know what, when you do this, this is the mirror. This is you and how you approach what I'm saying. And if this doesn't change, I shouldn't be embodying self-doubt in how you approach this with me. I shouldn't be embodying, a state of shame in doing the thing that actually gets me excited to pursue new things, to connect with new people. I shouldn't feel shame or doubt or anything that is undesired of an emotion, of a feeling, to do what brings you joy, to do what makes you feel empowered, to do what makes you feel confident, to do what makes you you. And that is the mirror, is that sometimes, yes, it's going to bring forth some harsh realizations. And this is just a part of healing a lot of the time. It's like, I really just like to look at life in general as a mirror. What am I attracting? Do I enjoy it? What's undesired? What aspects can I change in myself? What am I attracted to? Why are they attracted to me? And that is like, you can kind of make it fun on that journey to connect with people, hopefully that you have in your life now, but sometimes things shift. Sometimes when you set boundaries, people are not willing to shift and change with you, and that's a hard thing, and we need to, let people do what they're going to do, but we need to choose ourselves. We need to choose, what brings us joy, what is leading us into authentic path, what is leading us to not feel that we don't belong in our lives. And I went through lots of experiences like this. I've seen this in, so many connections with people. And we all have traumas. We all have wounds. So naturally, I never blame people for what they're projecting. Yes, some people do some really harmful things. That's not okay. I'm not saying abuse is okay. But what I am saying is, like, we're all experiencing life and we're feeling triggered if we're not willing to face ourselves. If we're not willing to face the mirror that is our reality, to understand like we are given the choice to choose, to set boundaries, to step into self-love, to do the things that bring us joy. If we're not choosing that, we're going to continue to attract relationships that sometimes are a part of what's filling something within ourselves that we haven't yet faced, we haven't yet healed. And that is the hard thing. And sometimes we stay in those relationships, and until we're willing to face ourselves and the mirror that is our relationships and our reality, a lot of the time we don't always see the truth of what's going on behind the scenes, why we are feeling that, we're anxious all the time. But we don't always recognize, like, when we remove ourselves and go no contact with someone, your anxiety goes away. And that's for you to say, that's the clue we don't want to face, because we love people. We've spent a lot of time with people. Sometimes people are, family. But when you face the harsh truth of that mirror a lot of the time, and you do the thing that feels good to you, that is the thing we need to heal. That is the thing we need to address and understand, like, you deserve to feel freaking good. You shouldn't be living a life being triggered by someone else who's not willing to grow and change, to let go of how they're approaching situations, making you feel anxious, making you feel like you're in fight or flight, making you feel unsafe in your home, your space, your environment, making you feel shame from connecting with new people because they're not willing to do the same. They want to control things, whatever it is. And I know that was like a lot of examples and it was a little heavy, but I just want to bring this to awareness as well, as like looking at relationships as a mirror. Sometimes it is just like the little things. You make it fun and you're like, oh, that's so funny. Like, I have this little thing and you have this thing, and like we are like two puzzle pieces coming together. How cute. Okay, maybe you heal that, I'll heal that. We'll step into like our self-empowerment and like just rule the world and have fun with that. And that is like the best thing that you can do, is like growing, learning, healing, understanding that like people, life is a mirror a lot of the time for us to understand, what it is we're attracting and what is attracted to us, because that's for us to really look at those as well. But when it comes to like the harder stuff, it's going to be heavy sometimes. Sometimes we really need to face like what has been blocked from our perception, what has been blocked from our view, because we were unconscious or unaware of, what we were triggered into, our past wounds, past perceptions, that we were people pleasing. We didn't know we were anxious around this person. But when you face the hard truths and really, treat life and your relationships as a mirror, it'll bring forth the elements of yourself that you need to heal. And when you choose to shift those, it will really show you the relationship, and if they are willing to actually change, or it's just words, whether they are actually willing to shift for themselves, because they can't shift for you. And I know, we love people and we want people to change for us, and hopefully people change to support us because they love us. But in full honesty, like, people only really change for themselves. So when somebody really loves you and they're acting in a way that is treating you in a bad way, and they didn't realize it, they didn't recognize that, they had a wound that they didn't know about, they're looking to heal it now, it still comes back to them. And it is, from a place of love and empathy, but it's that, oh my God, they reflect on themselves to say, they have a big heart, and they're like, I never want to be this person. It comes back to ourselves. I never want to be this person that I put you in that situation to feel that way. So yes, that is a loving thing. But in the end, it does come down to the person healing themselves. It comes down to the person choosing to change. It comes down to the person, deciding and taking action, not just speaking words and all of these elements. It comes back to them choosing to change or not. So that is like the harsh truth of treating your life as a mirror, is that truth will come up. Truth is the hard thing we have to face a lot of the time, but it's a part of life. It's a part of the journey. But you can really just, in other aspects, make it more fun. Treat it as like, a little joke. Be intentional with it. Don't, not face the hard shit. We have to face the hard shit and be like, what the hell? Like, I don't like this. But that is a part of life, and what is going to come forth, and something that you can take into your lifestyle, your way of thinking, your perception in regards to relationships, to ask, like, why are they attracted to me in this way? Why am I attracted to them in this way? And you'll see different wounds, you'll see different things, whether it's, you're attracted to certain people, and, this has come up in different details, like when you didn't have a father figure who was present. Let's say, you are interested in males. Sometimes we fill that void. Sometimes we're not really recognizing until we face the truth of like what we attracted into our lives, that like they kind of look like them. They kind of act like them. Maybe not to the full extent, but maybe they're emotionally unavailable because we didn't get that growing up. That's what we know. We know what we experience. The subconscious mind attracts into your life what you know. So that is the journey. That is life. So treating life and your relationships as a mirror is going to just help you in healing, and it's going to make it easier a lot of the time. Not like the healing aspect. Healing is hard. Healing sucks, but it is a part of life, and we need to do it to get to a better space, to let it go, set it free, say, get the hell out of here. I'm tired of attracting you to my life. I'm tired of, getting cheated on. I'm tired of attracting, these patterns. And there's different stages. Like sometimes like I would keep attracting a certain person. I just was like, why am I attracting this certain person into my life? And it wasn't anything romantic. It was just like, out and about, connecting with this person. But there was always something off. There was always something like people made me uncomfortable. And I was like, it's a pattern. And I keep like presenting myself in this energy. I keep presenting myself in this way that, people are coming up to me. And there's something about it that it would kind of pan out in the same way. I would kind of have to set boundaries to say, I can't talk to you anymore. And then I had to really reflect, like, why am I attracting this in my life? Why does this keep coming up? I would just be out and about, sitting there. And there's an element of being kind, compassionate, connecting with people. But I was somebody who really struggled to set boundaries. I was really, somebody who didn't follow my intuition for most of my life. I didn't know how to connect with my intuition. So when I really came to that, space that I was really just like trusting my intuitive guidance, I was really just trusting, that sometimes, when I connect with someone, I can say hello, but it doesn't have to go any further than that. I don't need to understand the reason why. I want to be kind. I want to be nice. But sometimes that is kind of what I was attracting, is that I would always be trying to help people. I was always trying to be like, how can I help you? I was always trying to, be that space for everyone that I meet and connect with. And I do that all the time. I do that with, my business. I do that, in life, is that I love to connect with people. I want to hear your story. I want to be that energy, that support for you. But sometimes what I was attracting was, it got a little obsessive. It got a little like too much, because people felt perhaps they didn't have an ear to listen to. And I get that. We know what we know. Hello, little fly. So I recognize like, perhaps where it could have come from, but I had to recognize like, I'm attracting this in my life. It is not okay. It is not, how I want to live my life. Feeling like I have to set 15 boundaries, that I am, having to, get to a space that I'm pushing people away, in those states, and feeling very uncomfortable. So I had to recognize like, okay, there's an element of what I was attracting. And that's a part of it too, is that while yes, I want to be a light and provide that ear, provide that, opportunity for people, I would always connect after. I would always say, yeah, sure, if you need anything, let me know. But that's for me to set boundaries, to understand and follow my instincts, to say, nope, this is what you needed. This is great. I enjoyed our connection. I am happy to connect with you. I wish you well on your journey. And that could be it. And that could be that. And it was when I just like set that intention of my mind to say like, hey, you know what? I can live that way. I stopped attracting that. I stopped attracting that in my everyday life. I stopped attracting this, character, this person who, wouldn't really let go of like when I would provide that space, that energy, that time to listen. And I really recognized like when I would talk and set boundaries, they didn't hear me. It was really like they just couldn't perceive it. They couldn't hear it. And on my other podcast, Awaken Mindset, I like to talk about energy. I like to talk about, more details of intuition, more of a, spiritual sense of things. And it kind of makes sense in that regard. If that is something that interests you, you can always go ahead and check that out. But everything is energy. Everything, is being attracted to you in accordance to who you are and what you're allowing into your life and what you're attracted to. You're attracting, and people are attracted to you, and it's often to fill something that we are not giving to ourselves, or that we feel like is missing a lot of the time. So sometimes it's as simple as like a perception shift to say, hey, you know what? It is okay to say, great, nice to meet you. That is it. Sometimes it is okay to say, you know what? this boundary is important to me. Yes, I face myself to say maybe I didn't show up in the best of ways. I am owning that. I am taking responsibility for that. But you are not taking responsibility for these things. So if you cannot meet me on this level, then I'm going to have to make changes. I'm going to leave a situation. I'm going to set boundaries. I'm going to have to do some hard healing, grieving, and make those decisions if you can't also embrace change. But you have to do it for you. Because when people try to change for not themselves, for the other person, it doesn't last. When people try to change, for what you're saying of what you need, and they're not doing it for themselves on a deep level, yes, they're still doing it for you to some extent, but if they're not really doing it from the trueness of their heart, of their selves, they're not going to change. They're going to fall back into that pattern, and that's what it is. A pattern, the subconscious mind. We are often falling into the patterns that we've come to know. So even when sometimes, somebody is saying that they're going to change, they're going to act different, if that's repeating and you're having the same conversations, that's the mirror you need. That's the mirror you need to face. And it is a hard truth a lot of time to say, like, okay, I'm having the same conversations. I am stressed. I am having a hard time. I am crying. I'm grieving. I feel unseen and unheard in this, connection, this relationship. I have tried every different way to communicate. Then that's for us to say, like, I've done my part. I don't want to face this wound, but I have to face fact. Like, I don't have to invest my time in this if they're not willing to change, not for me, but for themselves. If they are not willing on a deep level to change because they know that it's bringing you agony, that it's leading you into a state of fight or flight, if it's leading you into a space like you were miserable in life, you were feeling unseen and unheard, that's the mirror we need a lot of the time. And that is a hard one we have to face, because that means we have to grieve. We have to leave situations. We have to set boundaries. And like I said, the mirror can be fun, but the mirror can be heavy. The mirror can bring forth the truth that we don't always want to face. But it is in the truth that we attract an elevated self. We attract, the connections that see us on a deeper level. We heal ourselves. We stopped attracting our wounds. We stopped attracting, those belief systems. We stop attracting the elements of what has been, brought down through our family for generations. Then we start attracting and, connecting with people on a level that we want to. We connect with people who see us and hear us, and we feel that. We don't have to ask for that. We don't have to beg that, because they have done the healing for themselves, not for you. And that's what it's about. So those are a few examples, and I hope that this, perspective and, triggering message helps you on your unique journey with healing in regards to relationships and treating it as a mirror a lot of the time, especially the deep connections. I wouldn't say, that we are attracting, coworkers we see once in a while, maybe, people in business, people that you talk to once in a while. I wouldn't say that we need to treat those as a mirror sometimes, but it's more so the deep connections. We're like, oh my God, I love this person. Oh my God, like, they are the best. Oh my God, like, why I keep tracking this person who, like, lets me down all the time. What's this wound about? It's about me. So look at the mirror of your deep relationships, the ones that are bringing forth, the hardest parts, the different emotions that you're feeling, or they can be elevated emotions as well, for you to say, hey, you know what? This is a beautiful connection. This is the mirror that I'm facing, is that I do have some wounds. You have some wounds. We all have wounds. That is a part of life. There is no such thing as perfection, and we can't expect that of people. So that is the mirror as well, is that when you look at the mirror to understand what you're attracting and why they're attracted to you, also look at the mirror to say, like, what am I projecting? What is it I'm projecting onto this person? Are they reacting or, showing up in a way that's in accordance to how I'm actually unknowingly projecting my trauma, my, triggers onto them? And that will just help you to heal relationships, gain a deeper connection in your relationships if people are willing to change and grow with you in their own unique ways as well. But that is going to help you in relationships to get on a deeper level, to let go of the shit, to let go of these superficial, layers of, how tall are you? You have to be this certain height. And I hate that one. And I know, like, that's just my opinion on that. Like, we can't expect people to change things of themselves that they can't change. We also can't expect in general people to change themselves for us. And, height is always just such a big one. I get it. I know, like, the ladies like I'm tall. But I feel like that just is like, it kind of breaks my heart in a way. Like, there's so many men who just don't feel tall enough. And then, the people who are tall, they're always saying like, oh, do these people just like me because I'm tall? And it's just like, it's hard to face. It's hard to kind of look at. But it's for us to recognize too, like, okay, why am I attracted to this person who will only date tall guys? That is the mirror you need. And that is the uncomfortable thing, is that, what we're attracting is also in accordance to us. So we have to say, hey, you know what? Why am I allowing this in my life? Why am I not stepping into self-love for myself to say, you know what? It doesn't matter about my height. I want you to know who I am. I want you to know my joy. I want you to know, what I like. And that goes with, just societal stuff. That just goes with, it's not to come from a place of like hurt and pain and for me to like, throw shade at anyone. We all know what we know, and what we know is a lot of what has been built into society. There is so much structure, there are so many perceptions that we have just come to know that lead us into these patterns, these mindsets that we're unconscious, we're unknowingly projecting them, attracting them, stepping into these versions of ourselves. And this is a part of it, and we don't understand why we feel depressed, why we don't feel seen and heard, why we feel anxious. And it's because there's layers of the mindsets that we come to know. There's layers and patterns that we need to shift. So treating your relationships as a mirror will be uncomfortable, but it will help bring forth the patterns. It will help bring forth what has been conditioned in family dynamics, in life, in society, that really just needs to be cut the F out. That just needs to shift and go. And healing is hard. It's not fun. Treating life and relationships as a mirror is not always fun. You do have to make hard decisions in life. But understand, you making the hard decisions is you giving other people the opportunity to see what life is like without you. Do they feel better? Do they not? Also, sometimes people are in a state of their own little world that they think, leaving you, they're not willing to face themselves was actually a good thing, but they're not doing the healing. They're not doing those things. You setting boundaries, you leaving those situations is for you to get to a better space. It's for you to understand, like, you doing the hard thing is presenting that opportunity for someone to choose to change in how they showed up if they want to. Not about you, but about them. If they're not willing to face that self-reflection and you are, great. Let them go. If somebody is not willing to embrace, that hard truth of themselves to shift and change, and it's a forever, ongoing thing. It's not to be hard on yourself about, but, you don't want that in your life, because if you are freaking brave enough to face your shit, if you are brave enough to face yourself and do the healing of what has been brought up in society for such a long time, congratulations. You are freaking strong. You are freaking amazing. I fucking love you. And like, if someone is not willing to do that work, as well, don't hold yourself back. Understand that that's about them. Perhaps that's a lesson you needed. Perhaps your time, has shifted. And you leaving, you setting boundaries is the opportunity they need in self-reflection. Perhaps you leaving at a period of time, they will understand what they're attracting. Maybe they're not growing. Maybe you push them in a way that, other people didn't push you. Maybe you leaving, removing yourself, your energy from this person will help them to understand, like, hey, you know what? I didn't want to face the truth of how I was showing up. That's for me to address. That's for me to heal. That's for me to face. You doing what is good for you is actually helping other people. You setting boundaries, you communicating to the best of your ability time and time again. If it's not working, perhaps leaving a situation, you doing the hard thing that is in accordance to your best self, to your healed self, is the opportunity, the gift that other people need. Because I always like to say, triggers lead to truth. And that is a part of the triggering fun that we deal with all the time. So there will come a time that perhaps you doing the hard thing, hopefully, will be the gift that someone needs to face the hard truth of themselves, to understand, like, oh, I see it now. Because we only know what we've experienced. And when we're in avoidant patterns, which has been built into society, when we are, distracting ourselves, we're in disassociation, like, it's hard to get out of sometimes. So understand, like, people only know what they know, but it doesn't mean you need to stay in situations. People only know what they know, but if they're not willing to change for themselves, when you're telling them that you are having a hard time with, them not willing to grow, to change, to face, this aspect, then that is the hard truth in the mirror we have to face a lot of the time. Okay, that was the last intense trigger message of the autumn mindset. So I hope that this unique perspective helps to guide you, to heal you, to bring awareness to perhaps where we feel stuck, where we need to shift, details of our connections and relationships, and how we can grow beautiful, deep connections with people already in our lives, or when we connect with new people. And I see this all the time, and it's so amazing. It's like when you see something, when you bring your awareness to a trigger, when you bring your awareness to a pattern, you're like, oh, this felt weird to me because it's actually something safe. I've never experienced this before. Oh, this felt weird to me and I was never attracted to this because I was attracted to a wound that actually is not what I want. It's not what I'm looking to step into. I'm, loving the chaos of things, but that's what I've come to know from past experiences. When you find the pattern, your life gets so much better. When you find the pattern, hopefully for the most part, people want to grow with you. People want to say, hey, you know what? I didn't know that of myself. Thank you for sharing that with me. Let me share one with you. Okay, here's some love, pat on the back, do some healing, let it go, work on ourselves, grow together. And that's how you build, beautiful, lasting connections. Growing for you in your unique way alongside someone who's also willing to grow for themselves. And yes, a little bit about you. That's what love is about. But that really is, all coming down to the fact that people change for themselves. You change for you. Okay. That is the message of the day. The music in the background that just played 5 minutes ago is the final countdown. And today I'm recording a ton of podcasts and episodes, and I'm really excited. The universe likes to throw triggers my way. The universe likes to throw little signs to say the final countdown. And I'm feeling a change in my life. I'm feeling like I faced a lot of mirrors in my reality, and that is an inspiring tool that we can use a lot of the time. Because when we face those fears, we embody a new self. We step into our authenticity, and we start attracting that into our lives. We start having fun, even in the hard times. Yes, the healing isn't always fun, but, we deserve to enjoy our life. We deserve to feel like we have purpose. We deserve to feel, abundant and loved, and to love ourselves in that way. So, love yourself. Look at the mirror of your reality, and I hope that it helps you in your unique journey of growing, healing, and self-discovery. Okay, that's it for now. Keep shining lovely beams, and know that I love you and believe in your unique way. Okay, shine bright!